As we talk about Belgium and their prospects. By the way, I thought it was interesting there that he said like the best teams never win the World Cup or very rarely win the World Cup. You look at the list, Jules, and you mentioned France. You think, what, Spain 2010, the best team. Germany won it. They beat Brazil 7-1. Brazil back in 2002. You look at the list. Normally, it is the team certainly that's up there, isn't it? It's the best team that wins it.
Yeah, I think maybe what he meant is like 7 games is nothing really, and you've got the 3 in the group stage. It's really after that, the next 4 in the knockout stages that count the most. And if you are your peak for those 4 games, then even if you're on paper not the best team in the world, you can still go and win it. You're right, we haven't seen really any surprises since, I guess, in the Euros, Greece and obviously Denmark even before that. But on World Cup stage, it's rare. But for example, if you look at Italy in 2006, they were really underdogs. No one believed in them before. The others is a little bit different after that, maybe. But still, you also had big favourites who didn't win it that season because over the 7 games or at some point, they were just not clicking or not at their peak, or someone who just arriving with a bit better momentum. And it is the World Cup is it's not scientifically proven that the best always win. You know, so much can happen in those, especially on those 4 games in the knockout stages.
Maybe that's how Frank constructed his bracket. Best team on what win it? Canada. Best team Denmark. Oh, I think obviously Belgium are going to be on the day a threat. I just don't think defensively they're going to be strong enough. There's still a few old-timers in there. There's 1 or 2 that are not playing particularly well at their clubs. And I think that has, for me, has kind of always been their Achilles heel, never more so than now, with some of those players sort of hanging on to the coattails of the last World Cup. And I think against the better nations in the knockout, and I'm sure they'll get to the knockout, that's where I think they could be exposed.
I feel like you're singing from the same hymn sheet as Mr. Nichols. Stevie?
I beg your pardon. By the way, I couldn't help having a snigger when he said, well, we can't win them all. Well, they haven't won any yet. This is a team that's supposed to have been the next big thing, and they haven't done it. So I find that interesting. And if you can come up with all the excuses, does that mean that in 1978, Scotland were the best team in the world, but just didn't quite do it? I mean, I don't buy that, and I don't buy Belgium's chances this year. Yes, agree 100% with Mr. Burley, but I've got to say the front line doesn't inspire me. You know, your captain is Eden Hazard, so he's got to play, and the guy hasn't kicked the ball since I can't even remember. Lukaku might not be fit. Who are you playing? Batshuayi? You know, Dries Mertens, 35. You've got a couple of young guys there. I mean, Doku. So, yes, they've got problems at the back, but I see them having problems at the front. You know, he's talking about match winners. Who's the match winners other than De Bruyne? I don't see any.
George, you've got them getting through to the semi-finals?
Yeah, because I think Lukaku is going to come back at some point eventually, and I think KDB can carry that team for a little bit. I think if they finish top of their group, the bracket, to go back to what Vincent was saying about sometimes you just finish top or second, and the half of the draw is much better one way or the other. I think up to the quarterfinals it could be okay, and then after that potentially the semi-final would be much more difficult with either France or England if they both finish first as well. So it could be tricky. It could be a little bit less tricky, maybe, I guess. But I don't know. I want to think that maybe the kind of last dance for that generation could be inspiring for them. I think if KDB can deliver, and for the first time really, if you think about it in a long time, he's coming fit and really fit with good momentum into a big tournament like that. It was not the case in 2018. It was not the case in 2021 either. So certainly in 2021. So I think that could be a big thing. But the boys are right. If defensively you concede loads of chances, loads of goals, and even Courtois has conceded quite a few goals with Real Madrid in the league, has been injured. So that's also a bit of a worry. So yeah, it could be tricky.
I don't see Belgium going deep at all in this tournament. I thought if Belgium were... The deepest we'd see Belgium go was 4.5 years ago, and that was to the semi-final. I think this team has regressed for all the reasons that the boys just pointed out, both at the back and at the front. And while De Bruyne is in good form, I think it takes more than him to go deep in a World Cup. At the same time, just talking about the company interview, I find it so subjective just to say, well, the best team doesn't win the World Cup. I mean, what does that mean? Because Belgium were top of the FIFA rankings with this math formula that they use for the last 8 years, are they supposed to be crowned? Are they supposed to be given some kind of a balloon? I don't understand what that means. You go out and you prove it on the park. And while I understand the argument that you better make that judgment over 38 league games in the case of the Premier League, this is what international football is. You come in, you play these games in quick succession, and you pick your squad, you balance your squad accordingly. And there can't be too many arguments about the eventual winners. So I find that a little bit of a throwaway from
I think
company.
being the FIFA #1 and being the best team generally a lot of times can be two different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because of the way they construct the rankings, which I've got no idea how they do it. A lot of it's just a nonsense. But yeah, I think their best chance has come and gone. We might be wrong, but I think it has come and gone, which is a frustrating thing for the likes of De Bruyne and Hazard. I mean, there has to be a case in this World Cup that he might have to. He's another. It might have to be dropped.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.